Hello, my friend, and welcome to the 397th episode of the Sales Podcast. I'm Wes Schaefer, the Sales Whisperer, your host. Today, we're getting kind of geeky. We got kind of geeky on the last one. Had Rob and Kennedy on talking about Response Suite, which I've been using to generate leads, to segment visitors to my website so I can send relevant, targeted information to people based on the questions that they answer, how they answer them, if they don't answer it. So, and I've been using similar technology for many years. It's been my top lead tool doing these kind of quizzes. So I encourage you to take a look at Response Suite, see what those guys are up to. There's a link on the show notes that you can get to and go give them a trial. Today we've got Maddie Martin with Smith AI. So a little more geeking out here. You know, artificial intelligence, it's good and bad, but it's here to stay. And I'm a fan of technology using the right tools to keep you from doing redundant, tedious, inefficient things. And I'm also a fan of doing what does not scale. On the CRM Sushi podcast, I had Matt on, and we talked about using personalized video emails that obviously does not scale because you're making those individually. So showing that type of personality, showing individuality to your prospects and customers makes them feel special. So listen to this episode, check out the video, understand where this is going and how this can fit into your arsenal. It may not, but it is here to stay. You need to be aware of it. I recommend you use the right tools. Okay. I mean, unless you're just selling $1 million consulting and, you know, you only need to talk to one or two people a week or a month to get it, then you need the right tools. Okay. So make sure you're doing that appropriately. And one of them has been a sponsor of the Sales Podcast. They're going to be with us for a few months, but a couple of months remaining still. So check out what these guys at Intercom are doing. What does insight-driven messaging look like for sales? Like a whole lot more deals, fast. Jump on high-intent leads in the moment with Intercom, the business messenger that extends the reach of your team 24/7. Intercom creates more opportunities for you by booking meetings and collecting data from leads automatically. Take Intercom user Elegant Themes. They now convert 25% of leads through Intercom's messenger. Deals don't wait. Get them with Intercom. Go to intercom.com/deals. That's intercom.com/deals. And speaking of deals, I've been talking about the new pricing on the 30-day sales growth program. Had several folks take me up on that right away. That's always fun to see. Come join us at 30daysalesgrowth.com. $49.99 a month, no contract, but still with the 1-year money-back guarantee. And I talked about it before. I don't like doing big, crazy, expensive things that don't help the most people. I do private consulting. I help companies for tens of thousands of dollars. So I have no problem taking people's money. But what changed my trajectory in sales, and I've told the story over and over again, but it was a teleclass kind of like this back in late 05, early 06. I want to do the same thing. I want to eliminate the objections you might have around pricing to get the help you need. So it's live weekly calls. It's updated content. It's a private group, $49.99 a month. Come join us, okay? 30daysalesgrowth.com. I just saw an article. It was on Twitter, actually. They were talking about the price of dates around the country. And I mean, like, to go on a date, not date the fruit. And it's unbelievable how much money people are spending. And they talk about, the price of movies are expensive. I remember coming back from the Air Force Academy. I think it was Christmas, my freshman year. So that was 1988. And I picked this girl up, and we were going to the movies. And I literally didn't know how much movies cost. And I didn't have enough money. I mean, I think even then it was still, $8 or $10. I was just shocked. I'd always go to like the dollar movies, right? And I literally didn't have enough cash, couldn't get any cash. So we didn't go to the movies. But, they're talking about the average price of a date in the U.S. California, $226.35. Arizona, $106. Alaska, $95. South Dakota, hey, $38. So for somewhere between the cost of a date, so I'm less than Montana and Wyoming, less than half of Colorado. Heck, even Arkansas costs more than a month subscription in the 30-day sales growth. And I guarantee you, if you plug in for 30 days in the 30-day sales growth, go through the training, go through the videos, ask questions in the live calls, ask questions in the group, then even if you're living in Arkansas or South Dakota, you can afford a date in California if you were crazy enough to come out here and do that. So check it out. Come join us, okay? 30daysalesgrowth.com. Now let's bring on Maddie. Maddie Martin, all the way from Buffalo, New York, head of growth and education, Smith AI. Welcome to the Sales Podcast. How the heck are you?
Thanks, Wes. Good to be here. I'm doing well. It's finally summer here in Buffalo, so I'm happy. I can't complain. How are you?
I'm glad I got you on one of the 3 days of summer in Buffalo, right?
Exactly. In between the 30-degree weather and the winter that's coming, I'm sure sooner than I can even expect.
Well, yeah, you're welcome to visit SoCal anytime, all right?
I'll be there in October. There's a conference that I've got going.
Oh, very nice. Where is it?
It is on the waterfront in San Diego.
Oh, nice.
Yep, it's for Clio, which is law practice management software.
Yeah. I've done a little work in law enforcement, and a good friend of mine from Fort Worth goes to that. So let's stay in touch. We'll come down, and I'm an hour from there. So
great. Well, we'll probably have a party around there. So let me know and you'll be on the invite list.
My feelings will be hurt if I'm not invited. Don't make me delete this episode, all right? I will do it. I'm vindictive.
Oh, man. I am a woman of my word. Don't you worry.
Very nice. So Smith AI. So AI, I'm going to guess, is artificial intelligence. And so what is Smith?
So Smith is basically a specialist, a blacksmith, a craftsman, someone who specializes. So basically nice. We're specializing as receptionists for small businesses, both on the phone call side and on live website chat.
So on your website, so it says Smith AI is a superior receptionist service for live calls and website chat. So I'm a little confused. So we have artificial intelligence, but you also have live. So are you combining the two? Do I have to pick one or the other? How does that work?
Oh man, the answer to that is kind of both, all of the above. So we have live US-based receptionists, English and Spanish speaking, who do inbound and outbound calls for solo and small business owners.
Oh wow.
And then on the web chat side, we have live people who are staffing the web chat. And on both sides, AI has a significant role. So not only do we automatically block spam, we block, irrelevant chats and bots and things like that on your website from taking up your time and creating interruptions. But some very cool things happen, particularly on the integration side, where new contacts by phone and by web chat are logged in your CRM or business software, in your calendar as well. And on the web chat side, some really cool things happen. So sort of like automatic anticipated responses to common questions, as well as immediate translation of a Spanish language web visitor who is chatting with someone who may speak English, the instant real-time translation back and forth. So let's say that you're a Spanish-speaking web visitor, I'm an English-speaking receptionist. Your Spanish language chats get translated to me instantly in English, and my responses in English get translated back to you in Spanish. So that's a way that we are enhancing the service from the live staff to facilitate better communication.
Interesting. Does it recognize the language of the browser of the visitor? And like automatically respond, or is that even possible? Or if the visitor just starts typing in Spanish, obviously it would detect that and reply.
Right. So it's sometimes the case actually that people use multiple languages. They may start off in Spanish and move to English, or English to Spanish. So it's actually based within the chat itself. Now, right now, it's only supporting English and Spanish, but we will be supporting more languages later on. So it's not within the browser. It's really driven by what the web visitor prefers, as indicated by what language they use with the chat agent.
Right. So yeah, I'm just thinking, I mean, we're all spied on all the time, right? I just wondering if it could like detect the native language of the visitor from their browser settings or something. But I mean, if it doesn't, that's fine. But I'm just thinking to enhance, because I'm speaking with some people now about doing work in Latin America. But if my chat window only pops up in English, they're going to try to probably respond in English and not even think that I know Spanish, right? Or that I offer it. So would I just have both options by default, like basically welcome, Spanish or English, pick to start that dialogue?
That may be a question that you prompt automatically with a sort of bot enhanced response. So we have something called playbooks that basically allow you to have a workflow of sorts of responses and sequences. So it may be the case that after a greeting, you have the next question be, do you have a language preference? So that's something that you could build in.
Right. Because you see what I'm saying, right? I mean, somebody that most people, right, in business at least, know some amount of English, sometimes better than us. So they'll just default to that, but it'd be nice, to really early on. God, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, even just have it by default, welcome. What is it? Bienvenido is Spanish, right? Or
hola, or yeah,
hola,
whatever you want to
just put
say.
both.
Hi, welcome, bienvenue. So I think that would be really nice to proactively show that you communicate in the language or the languages that your clients are most likely to speak. And actually what you can do is not only can you demonstrate that way that you serve them, but if you do say hello in 1, 2, or 3 languages, maybe that's an indication very early on that if someone doesn't speak one of those languages, maybe they're not the most qualified lead for your business, so it could be almost a filtering mechanism early on as well.
Right. Do you have a roadmap for the other languages?
Not at this time. We do have requests, very commonly for Chinese, Portuguese, Farsi, those are very commonly requested, but we are working at a breakneck pace to, get more features for website chat, one of which, the newest really, is a self-service version for solo and small firm or small business owners who want to at least test out chat for themselves before they hand it off to a managed chat service. So free for one user, we actually have the software that our agents use available to solopreneurs and small business owners to chat with their website visitors themselves and see sort of what is the volume, what's the quality, are these people who are likely to become clients, what questions do they have that they can proactively answer with common answers to questions, and test dip their toe in the water a little bit for free, and then say, okay, I vetted this. I think this is a good channel for me. I also don't have the time to answer my own chats. I'm going to now hand it off, understanding this is a good investment, to Smith AI's live chat agents.
Right. And I've tried various chat platforms. HubSpot has a native chat tool built in, but I've tried others. And it seems like it's feast or famine. I feel like I'll get a whole bunch, and then it's like literally weeks will go by and I get none. Have y'all seen any kind of metrics? Is it like solar flares or a full moon or something that affects?
Well, or a new podcast episode. I mean, do you see it correlating with any content that you're sending out there, or referral sources that are generating, a big push of new leads to your website?
No, I haven't seen. I haven't been able to correlate it with anything. It
Or
comes and
maybe a certain day of the week when people are more, have a stronger appetite or something.
yeah, I'll go
Or
back and look. It's but it's nice when it happened. I mean, a guy hit me up over the weekend, and I'm glad he did because I had a setting wrong on my site. I was giving a free PDF, but I was making people opt in, and I just messed up. I made the form password protected instead of the PDF. I
oh,
just,
I
I just put
see.
on the wrong
So they
page.
couldn't even submit the new interest request.
Yeah, and somehow he did. Well, yeah, I don't even know. But I was like, man, I'm glad he reached out, right? Because I was able to fix it.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, it's interesting because it was wrong for a while, and other people just like didn't even worry about it. Right? They just leave. So I mean, that shows too, right? You've got to be the consumer wants stuff when they want it, right? Which is right now. And they don't care if
That's
you're
right.
asleep. They don't care if it's a Saturday night. They don't care if it's the 4th of July coming up, right? They want it now.
Yeah, we have an instant gratification culture, and that is the case whether you are a roofer, an e-commerce selling boots, or a law firm. People want an instant response, and that actually is the biggest determining factor for who they hire. It's not how warm is the referral or how great is the content on your website. It's your responsiveness that determines if you get the new client or not.
Do they care if it's a robot?
It depends on how good the robot is. And I mean, frankly, personally, I prefer when the robot doesn't pretend to be a human, that it's very clear that it's, AI, because we're not at the point where you have the sensitivity and the nuance within the language of AI really to convey, especially to someone who's under, a lot of stress looking for a law firm or, financial help, or even IT help, whatever the case may be. To get that sort of sensitivity that a human can provide. But I would say, the AI can answer a lot of the common questions, and that most of the time people have a set of questions that they have, and then they also don't even know what questions to ask.
Sure.
So one of the things that AI can do is like provide proactively information that's important for that person to understand in order to determine if that business is the right fit for meeting their need.
Yeah, I've always said, it's your frequently asked questions that need to be answered, but it's your should ask questions. That's what they don't know. They don't know. That's where you differentiate yourself. And yeah, that can help, like you were saying earlier, help disqualify someone because I don't want to talk to everybody.
And they don't want to waste their time either. And I think that's the thing. So often there's sort of like this butting of the heads, don't waste my time, often we see that people don't read the content even on the website, and then they interrupt or bother you or call when that information is available. But if we take the mindset as business owners that, they don't want to waste their time either. And the more we serve them by giving them the information up front that we typically know they need to make a good decision to hire or to pay the firm for whatever service or good, that's in their best interest. And actually, the next step beyond that is if you are not the right firm or business to help a client, to actively refer them to someone who can help them, because not only is that really building goodwill, maybe you also monetize it or you get a kickback of some sort, but it also can lead to positive online reviews just by someone who was referred and had a good experience with you, even if they don't hire you. So it can have a major positive brand effect.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're talking about AI a lot or bots, but is on the phone answering, those are all humans, right? Or is that automated as well?
They are all humans, and it's really approximating an in-house experience. So if you think about a small business owner and the level of responsibility and consistency required to hire full-time staff, typically the staff that's in-house is spread really thin, higher specialized than the need for someone who answers the phone. In a law firm, for example, a paralegal will be answering the phone. In another business, it's someone who is more specialized, whose time is more precious, like the business owner or like the operator, whose time is more precious than just answering the phone. So what we do is we provide receptionists who have the communication skills to sound like they're in-house, but have a flexible cost so that you're only paying per call. You're not paying for someone to sit there, or conversely, you're not missing calls because the person who is available is busy doing other things and can't be interrupted, or is on a call and can't take two at the same time. So it gives you this business continuity, no matter how busy your in-house team is, to always have this level of responsiveness, and then to take that conversation and carry it through fully to the point where you're comfortable. So not only do they answer a call, but they can qualify a lead, they can schedule a consultation, and they can even take payment via credit card for your consultation if you charge for it in a service-driven business.
Right.
So there are these workflows that build incredible efficiency in addition to adding responsiveness.
So I love this. All of a sudden, you must like Def Leppard. My phone just started playing.
There's some like spooky spirit going on here.
That's so weird. I've had iPhones for 10 years. I've had Amazon Prime Music for a couple of years. It just started playing. Good thing I downloaded a good tune, huh?
Wild, yeah.
That's so weird. So I know a lot of times people are worried about, they're worried about their reputation, right? How well trained is this person? Are they going to ask the right questions? Are they going to say something dumb, and make me look bad? So what does it take to get them up to speed, right? Is it just like being a good human, right? With some business, just some common sense,
yep,
enough to kind of move the needle until they kind of learn the ropes of your unique business?
So all of our receptionists are available to answer any call from any business that we work with. We don't dedicate receptionists to you, so we can handle any fluctuation in call volume. The AI prompts them and shows them the information they need to provide to the type of caller. So you can imagine a potential client versus an existing client with a support issue or a need for an update versus a business partner versus a family member. Those calls are handled very differently and with different levels of priority. So we have the information that's available to the receptionist. Now, there is a basic setup form that we walk every new client through with Smith AI that captures the information we know we need to do a good job for them. But getting back to your original question, are they comfortable? Is this person going to make them look good or bad? It will 99.9% of the time, even if they have a stumble or a misstep or they say something that's not perfect or not exactly the way that you would phrase it, it is a million times better than having that call go to voicemail or to that person using your online calendar link to schedule time with you and they're not a good fit and they should have talked to a gatekeeper first. So the worst possible experience is not responding or letting someone go to voicemail. The really low risk scenario is that someone didn't handle the call exactly as you would have, but the way that we hire our team is for that customer support and hospitality experience. So that sort of personal relatability, that sensitivity to people's needs, that ability to communicate, that is a core screening that we do before we hire anyone.
So the receptionist, that was interesting. So they're all over the place. So they're not just assigned to me. So I guess in the beginning, there's some interviewing going on, right? And we got to build out our own playbook, our own workflow, sequences and replies, so anyone can fill in, right, and follow that playbook.
Yes, and it really builds over time. So often, people who've never used a receptionist service or people who've used a very limited answering service, they will come to us and say, I'm not quite ready. I need to think through all these steps and all these nuances. And we say, the best way to get started is to at least have all your calls answered. And then we will learn, because we send you an update after every single call or chat, the receptionist summary notes, or what was handled, or what questions were asked that we didn't have the answer to. And you'll see the full chat transcript. So you can comb through and say, this can be improved and tweaked and modified. But again, the biggest gain is in that responsiveness, not in the perfecting of it, which comes over time.
Yeah, I like that. So responsive versus perfection.
Yeah, because I think that's a huge mental block that people have is,
Yep.
Oh, I need to have this all figured out before I do this. Or I'm not going to use, I see
Right.
your integrations and I love the fact that you integrate with HubSpot and Salesforce and Calendly, and you're going to do all these things for me and you're going to follow up on my late payments. Absolutely. But we can do all those things over time. You don't have to come to for example, if you're buying a house, you don't have to have all of your plans laid out for what color the room is going to be and where the furniture is going to go before you decide whether or not to buy it, right?
Right.
So you have a general concept. This is the right place for you, that this is the right company that's like in step with you. Get started. And then you know what? You may find that those assumptions that you had early on, well, it's a good thing you didn't do that work early, because you may have a different approach to it once you get started.
Yeah, I've told people, since 2008, I've been working with Infusionsoft, HubSpot since 2014, and people think they've got to build everything to even start. I'm the same way. I'm like, I show them how to just, with like 3 clicks of the mouse, send an email when they miss somebody. Like, I get your voicemail, boom, click, email sent, task complete, new task, assigned to call back tomorrow. Right? So doesn't sound like much, but if it takes you 5 minutes and you now do it with 3 clicks and you do that 10 times a day, I just saved you 50 minutes every day. And if you have 5 people on your team, I saved you 250 minutes, with that one thing every day. And then what could you do if you had an extra 50 minutes every day, right? You could build the next sequence out. But yeah, I mean, you're right. They're going to get smarter and smarter and smarter. They're not just, you don't have a static team, right? Yeah, y'all are going to answer 3 questions and 3 questions only for the next 100 years. Like, no, they're not.
And it's not like we say you only get to email us 3 changes a month.
Right.
There's nothing like that. But also I would say, and I say this when I teach a lot of continuing legal ed to attorneys, because there's a lot of room for optimizing the sort of like lead qualification and intake calendaring process in that particular industry. And there is actually an ethical requirement to responsiveness, which is important there. So how do you determine what works if you do everything all at once? Is it the calendaring? Is it this automation or that? If you extend your hours and you add receptionists and you add the website chat and you add a new practice area, well, which is moving the needle?
Yeah.
So do one thing at a time also, so that you know what works and what has the biggest impact.
Yeah, it's just like any marketing. And we tell people, like on a landing page, you don't make radically different landing pages because you don't know what works. I always tell people, think of it like if you're the Ford dealership, you start broad. If it was day one of advertising, right, you'd advertise a picture with a truck, with a Mustang, with, I don't know, a Ford Focus, and a minivan, right? So those are broad. And it's like, okay, well, the truck is getting, 10-to-1 clicks. Okay, boom. Now, instead of 4 separate ads, we're going to have 4 ads with trucks, right? A red truck, a blue truck, a 4-door, your super cab truck, and a dually. The super cab's 10-1. All right. So now a red, a blue, a green, a yellow, with a family, without a family, with a dog in the back, oh, the
Right.
dog is 10-1. Okay. So you slowly, now you iterate. And so just like what you do here. So you mentioned like, certain number of changes. Like, can I log in and make my own script changes for your team, or is it like a collaborative thing?
So that's a really good question. That's something that we're actually about to release. But right now with the chat service, you actually can build your knowledge base that the receptionists use and learn from to respond to website visitors. We also have a cloud phone system keypad where you can program your phone routing, whether it's to you, your team, or your receptionist. You can add different numbers for tracking marketing campaigns, for example, and you can text right within that system as well. But for the virtual receptionist side, that's the dashboard that we're actively building out right now and releasing very shortly. So you will be able to do so. In the meantime, a simple email to us is very easy. And then what we also have is instant SMS sort of status changes. So if you say, by default, my setting is, try and warm transfer calls to me that come in, but in the morning you have morning meetings, or you're in court as an attorney, for example, you could have it set, or you're on vacation because the 4th of July is coming up. You could have it set by text message that says, do not disturb 4 hours, or do not disturb 1 week, or something like that. So there's an instant sort of response to your availability as it changes. And there isn't a login that you have to, go through to make that change. It's just via SMS, but we will be adding a more robust dashboard.
And can we upload numbers? Like, can I put my wife's cell phone? Like, if a number comes from here, just let it come straight to me?
Yes, so you can whitelist numbers, and actually we even have some clients who say, I am really sensitive to my costs right now. I want to have you ring me first, and then if I don't pick up in 1 to 2 rings, then please answer to make sure it doesn't go to voicemail. So we can do overflow, or we can do all calls. We can even just do new clients and screen them. Or for some technology companies, IT firms, they actually sometimes use us just to be responsive live to existing clients as a higher service level. So you may have a VIP service level in your business, and you always connect during business hours to a live receptionist, and that's something that they actually pay extra for, or it's a benefit that you provide to them.
Right. And is it extra for like nighttime, service?
So we answer calls presently Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern, 5 a.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific. So it's extended business hours. After hours, we do not do phone calls, but we do offer a 24/7 chat bot that goes beyond the responsiveness on your website with the live staff. So
Right.
That can be one way to stem phone calls and emails after hours as well.
Yeah, cool. That works. And you've got blocks of pricing, so that's cool. And then you've got integrations, right? I see Slack. You mentioned HubSpot, Salesforce, Pipedrive, so and a whole bunch more. I mean, you're listing the big ones. Is it like where do you see people stumble? Is it because they try to bite off more than they can chew? How can we like assuage their fears, and like for listeners, just like, go try it. Go, because personally, I mean, from my own experience, I haven't had a paid receptionist like this, but the first time I hired a VA overseas just to help technologically, right? She did WordPress design, things like that. My life got so much better. And then I hired a local person, a stay-at-home mom who just wanted to work during the day, and that changed my life, right? So getting good, smart help, so now I'm glad I found y'all. I'm gonna give you a try.
Right.
But having
It's transformational.
Yeah, dipping your toe in the water and realizing, man, I don't have to do everything. It's scary. At first, I get it. You're handing it off, and it's like the first time your kid drives away in the car, right? When they're 16, you're like, I'll follow you. Like, no, let them go. right? And then you're like, I don't have to go pick up all the kids. I don't have to take them to practice. Oh my gosh, I have a life again. I can imagine
Right.
it's kind of like that with this. So how do you calm people's fears and like just trust us?
Well, I mean, honestly, the way that we do so is by starting with a free trial. So you feel like, low risk, I'm getting, for 30 days, 10 calls or 5 chats or both, whatever you want. You get to experience it fully baked out as you would get as a paying client. This is how we're going to answer calls for you. And this is what it sounds like. And we encourage you to secret shop or audit or, call us at Smith AI. We drink our own Kool-Aid and see how we sound. That's the best way to sort of get over that initial hurdle. But I would also say, the biggest stumbling block is in the calculation of your opportunity cost for your time. And you know this better than anybody. When you are paying for marketing or you're getting inbound leads and you're answering them yourself or you're letting them go to voicemail, or you kind of have this ignorance is bliss sort of thing going on where, the phone rang, they didn't leave a voicemail, and, you fool yourself into thinking maybe that wasn't a client that I just missed. Like, that's very common with business owners and operators.
If they were serious, they would have left a message and just sent me their money. So I don't want to talk to those people.
Right. Oh, they weren't sincere if they didn't leave a message. And we can fool ourselves all day long, but until you start confronting who's calling you by answering every single call, and you're not paying for spam or sales calls, so these are relevant calls, then you can start to say, my clients are worth this much to me. My hourly time is worth this much, and I'm paying this much for marketing. I'm paying this much to generate a click to my website or for people to, have a call to me. It doesn't really seem like that much money at the end of the day then to pay for the staff chat, to pay for the phone to be answered on a per call basis. And again, month to month, you can modulate it. You can say, I'm going to do overflow, or I'm going on vacation. I want you to answer everything. Or I want you not only to answer my calls, I want you to make outbound calls to the people who have appointments coming up to make sure that they show up. So it really is choose your own adventure. But for people who will say, I really only want to pay $1 per call, well, what you're going to get is an answering machine that happens to be live, a glorified answering machine. It's abroad. The person's not going to sound like they could possibly be in your office. And to me, if I call a small business, part of the reason that I'm calling a small business and not a big competitor is that I want that personalized attention or local knowledge or whatever it is, that special attention to detail that only a small business owner can provide. I'm immediately having my trust eroded if I'm talking to someone who has limited utility, who doesn't sound like they're in the office. I think maybe this business can't afford anything better than this. Or, all right, now I have to wait for a call back because the person just took a message and they couldn't actually help me.
Can you help with filtering all these robocalls and spam calls?
Yeah, we do that automatically for free for
Nice.
every one of our clients. So even if you're paying the minimum for the starter plan, $60 a month for chat, $70 for the calls, you automatically get that. And not only do we do it automatically for the 20+ million known robocallers, but we also do it on an account level. So this is important. Let's say that you're paying to work with a marketing agency, and that marketing agency is also making cold calls to similar businesses. Business A may say, please block those calls. I'm not interested in hiring this company. I don't want to pay for those calls. That's spam to me. Business B may say, that's my account representative. Like, I actually need to talk to that person for my weekly check-in. That's not spam. So on an account level, we can determine who to pass the numbers through to and who to block.
Nice. Yeah, because golly, I still get a lot. I mean, I used to get a ton, but I don't know. They're supposed to be passing laws. I've been seeing them on these robocalls. So, But yeah, that
Let's hope
alone
so.
is nice. And so I like this. Choose your own adventure, right? So that you've got the virtual receptionist, you've got chat, you've also got a keypad, right? So they can. It's a phone service, right? It's a
Business
phone
phone number,
VoIP.
cloud, VoIP phone service. It
Yep.
includes text messaging as well, because if you don't think people are texting your business, you probably just don't have it enabled. It's a really nice way to have just a single cell phone, but a business number that you can call from, so people don't have your personal cell. And we can even use your business number to make calls back for you. So it's not some 1-800 number from a phone service that's, calling your clients to follow up with them, but instead it really shows that we are, again, approximating that in-house experience. But regardless, keypad is $25 a month. It gives you a really easy interface to route your calls, to listen to voicemails, to text. It's also, supporting fax if that's still relevant to your business, which for some it is. I mean, you wouldn't believe it, but financial planners and people who work with, finance and law, commonly still have to fax.
Yeah, I know people, we laugh about it, but I always tell people, zig when they zag, right? If nobody, quote, nobody's doing fax, then good, you better start, add it to it. But man, I remember back in the day
that don't have texting enabled, like, oh, nobody texts me. Well, you don't have texting enabled on your business phone, so how do you know? Open it up and see, because if a consumer is just a human being.
Right.
If I'm texting the person who is servicing my car, I don't think about your business as a financial advisor, as a special sauce, as a different entity. I think of you as another business provider for me. So I'm going to be apt to text you as well.
Yeah. And I've opened things up. I'm accessible, and I have not seen people abuse it.
And you can automate responses, things like Zip Whip. You can automate those responses. And actually, I'll let you and your listeners in on something. We are going to be responding to text messages as well. Nice. So if you don't want those interruptions and you want them kind of pre-screened, we can actually answer those similarly to how we would with a web chat.
Yeah, cool. So you created a little special for our listeners, right? It's smith.ai is your website.
Right.
And so you got a free trial that they can do. And then if they decide to sign up, it's promo code WES50, all one word, for what, $50 off the first month?
$50 off, yeah, after the trial. So with the promo code of $50 towards your first month of live calls or live website chat, the total discount of $110 to $120. And it's just WES50, WES50.
Yeah, very cool. All right. Well, enjoy your summer in Buffalo.
The limited summer that we have, I sure will. Thanks, Wes.
And I hope we can hang out, a little party in San Diego in October.
I look forward to it.
All right, Maddie from Smith AI, thanks for coming on the Sales Podcast. It's been great.
Thanks for having me.
When I got my first assistant, my life changed. I hired someone overseas, and we're still in touch. I use her from time to time. She was a technical kind of support person, so she could help with the website and HTML, things like that. Changed my life. Then I hired someone local, a stay-at-home mom, former Marine. She just wanted to do some work during the day, so she could set her own hours. Changed my life again. And so scaling properly, bringing on the right people is the key to growth. And the nice thing with Smith AI, it's a blend of artificial intelligence and humans. It's super affordable. You can scale it up as you grow, but use that promo code WES50 and give them a try. All right, and let me know how it goes. You can let me know how it goes in the 30-day sales growth program. Come hang out. Come ask your questions. I'll help you. I'll review landing pages, email content, voicemail scripts, proposals, whatever. If you're willing to share it in the group, I'll help you with it. Okay? $49.99 a month. 30daysalesgrowth.com. Be sure to subscribe so you get these episodes pushed to you right away. Now go sell something.